So this is it. We're going to head off into the White March. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I don't know why we're collecting all these herbs. We never do anything with them anyway.
Oh, this guy has stuff to... Oh, okay, we're going to sell up our crap.
Sell
He's got some
crap.
weird stuff. Ultimate hat.
The ultimate hat of alluring perfection, Lewis.
I know. Rupex, a watchful cloak, Mark II.
Mark II.
So lots of crap he's got here, actually. But look how expensive it all is.
Yeah, and you also like, I'll just pick up one of these later, I'm sure.
I probably don't. I'm probably all right. You know, I don't need some of this crap, though, so I can just chuck some of these random bits and bobs that I'm never going to actually use.
Lugging around for no reason.
Yeah, get rid of all that junk. I've got a unique saber called Resolution. I don't know where I picked that up.
It's hard to know sometimes whether something's really good or not.
Yeah.
And you're desperately trying to figure it out from reading, and then you're like, fuck it.
I think though Ed has got a talent with swords, and I think this is a saber, not a sword.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think it applies. I think
Big difference. Don't make the mistake, Lewis, of confusing a saber for a sword. It's completely different.
I think it is.
Actually, Pyrion, it is completely different. As a saber wielder, yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be a few comments like that. We'll just have to worry about those.
I have sabered for years.
So I gave it to Pyrion Lewis so he can equip it with the door.
Yeah. The door.
Which just looks stupid, but that's fine. I don't think Sagani really ever gets into melee combat, so we'll just leave her with the bow. And yeah, I guess I'm just sort of looking around. Apparently I'm supposed to go to this guy's house before I leave as well, so I'm like, bloody hell, another quest. Sure. So let's quickly run over and pick this one up. Oh, there is a lot of quest picking up. I'd forgotten.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. What's his name? Thyrsk.
It must be soon.
Anyone thirsty? Just my little joke.
Sorry. Didn't hear you come in. I'm Thyrsk. I've lived here long
pronounced
enough.
Thyrsk, actually.
Kids have started calling me the Old Hunter.
The Old
That's
Hunter.
about all I can say for myself.
You sure do talk slow, Thyrsk.
Put a few arrows in one of those, and they generally have the good sense to back off. But I've been hunting this wolf for nearly
It was like 5 years!
a man-eater.
But,
Cunning, nasty thing.
well,
Every time I get
that
close,
guy
it just
always says,
slips away.
oh my god.
The beast has already claimed many lives. The first victim was my son, Soldier. Got the better of me this last time. Distracted me long enough for one of its kin to turn up. Nearly bit me clean in half.
Good God.
I'm a few weeks out from
Yep,
trying
dang
again.
thing nearly bit me clear in half. Woo!
So,
It needs doing.
Where's the beast?
But I warn you, this beast is not to be trifled with.
Well, I trifle
Must
with
make
beasts
its
normally,
lair
but in this
somewhere
case,
to
I'll
the
make an
west.
exception.
If you mean to go there, keep your wits about you. Watch
Listen.
yourself on the mountain.
listen, Thyrsk.
In these lean times, everything looks like prey to something.
That attempt. Listen here, Berverge. All right, let me tell you something. I've been listening to you very carefully.
And I fully understand the mission.
Kill the beast.
We will probably likely run into it, and I'm glad that you told us about it.
Now we
because
get some
then
XP,
when we
thanks.
inevitably kill it, we will be able to return to you and say it's done.
Like, I kind of feel like my ideal adventure game would just have a pop-up that just says, kill beast quest, except, yes, reward will be X, done. Like in World of Warcraft, I never read any of the lore. I was just like, accept, get all the quests, and then just run off and do them.
Yeah, but at the same time, right?
Some people love this shit.
I mean, look, we've met Thyrsk. We've met the guy. He's a good, interesting character. And,
Really?
you know, well, it was memorable. I couldn't probably tell you who gave us any of the other quests.
Yeah, I know. Like the names, I do have a problem with fantasy names when they're too fantasy.
A blade in the... Okay, off we go. So Spread out, guys. Triangle formation.
Nice.
There's some deer. Okay,
deer, get them!
I could shoot them, but they spook easy.
Oh, they just pieced it. God, they're quick. How come they didn't have to make a disengage check? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Elder stags.
Elder stag.
Now,
Good
the elder
God.
stags, however, are not going to piece. They are going to stand up for their deer, and they're going to actually fight us.
Oh, Christ!
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, a fireball will make some lovely cooked venison, I guess. Let's just see if we can get a bomb going off back there. Crunch.
They're actually quite... Oh, no, they hit for 3 damage. Yeah, you got this.
Yeah, I think we'll probably be all right. Arcane.
Who's Itumak? Is Itumak the dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sagani's little wolf fella. So yeah, she's just gonna pin that so Pyrion Fluids can run away, basically.
I want to tell you about my favorite Star Trek episode after this because I forgot.
Yeah.
We got distracted. But the music's again too dramatic.
It's alright. We can just turn the music down a bit.
No, it's fine.
It's literally. Just turn the music down. There you go. Right.
No. I mean, I can't talk about Star Trek with this dramatic music. Star Trek is peaceful.
Star Trek is...
Kill the deer and then I'll cover it.
It's very thoughtful. That's right. Okay. Right, fine. We'll kill the deer and then we'll talk about Star Trek. We were going to try and talk about this last time.
Yeah.
But this is what happens. We're
getting messed up here.
Gonna bounce.
How can Mrs. Flax go toe-to-toe with ogres, but a couple of deer, that's it?
They're very protective
on her
of their fellas.
But their natural armor is they're quite soft and furry. Like, a sword should do it.
Well, you'd think that, wouldn't you? They're not exactly wearing chainmail, are they?
Yeah.
Well, like, you know, I mean, ogres, they've got a lot of...
And I mean, in no way is a deer prepared for a sword fight.
Not that we
know what I mean?
of. Yeah.
It's going to be like, I've never seen one of these things before.
I mean, swords are really designed to cut through deer.
Yeah.
And even arrows. I mean, Sagani, you know, deer should be weak to arrows, surely.
They should be. They should be. Oh, God, look at that. The multi-level up.
So, yeah, I've got to deal with those.
I wonder if you're going to notice.
Yeah, probably not.
So, there is an episode of Star Trek. I can't remember what the name of the episode is. But they find a beacon floating in space.
Okay.
And when they examine it, Picard collapses. And they're like, whoa, what happened to Picard? And he wakes up and he's down on this planet. They found like the planet is abandoned. There's like no life on it. There was some kind of climate catastrophe that killed everybody years ago. And he's down on this planet and everyone's like, they've got a name for him, like Steve or whatever. They're like, oh, Steve, you woke up. And he was like, what do you mean, Steve? I'm Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise. And they were like, what are you even talking about, Steve? You lived here your whole life. Like, you've been my friend for years and everything. And he's basically living now on this planet with these people, with this civilization of people that are kind of friendly. And there's this weird cross between American and it's got a vaguely sort of... You know the way in Star Trek when it's a planet that's not like high tech, they just wear what look like togas.
Yeah.
Right? And there's kind of a Greek village vibe going on. So he's hanging out there and he's still, you know, Picard's age. And the years pass and he meets a woman and he's practicing his little flute that he could never play, that little space flute that Picard's got. And he's sort of, you know, looking at the stars. And because obviously Picard, he still has his knowledge as Picard. So he's very clever about astrology and stuff. And he's like, there's something up with these planets, you know, something's wrong and we need to try and solve the climate problem and everything. And everyone's like, look, don't worry about it. We can't fix it. We'll try and everything like that. And in the end, they launch this rocket into space and it's got a beacon on it. And the beacon has recorded all their history and messages from all of them. And they say that one day they hope it will find somebody and they transmit their message to that person to carry on the knowledge of their race, their civilization, because they know it's about to be wiped out. And at this point, characters that he's an old man now. He's lived a lifetime on this planet. And characters that had died along the way come back to talk to him. And he's like, what are you doing here? You've been dead forever. And they're like, do you remember we told you about that message we were sending into space? We found, you know, that it would find someone and give them a taste of what our life was like. And he realizes that it was him And that this lifetime that he's led there on this planet is their message to him about who they were and their people. So he wakes up back on the bridge and he's lived this 40, 50 years down on this planet with these people, all in like 10 minutes of unconsciousness that had been beamed into his brain, this kind of weird interactive message that he had with this beacon. It's just a beautiful episode, wonderful sci-fi concept, and I absolutely loved it. And of course, then that one where they're on the planet and the guy doesn't really speak English and only speaks in proverbs and stuff. That's another classic.
Oh, yeah. His,
Jalad, when the walls fell and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Oh, that is such an incredible episode, that.
Oh, I think it's Tanagra. So-and-so, Jalad at Tanagra. And they're like, and Picard's like, is Jalad, is he a warrior? Is this an island? And the guy's just like, oh, you don't speak in proverbs. I'm lost here.
It's all emotional proverbs, isn't it? So it's all like stories. It's like everything they say is but
it's all referencing back to this book, and the actions, the things that happen in that book were so monumental of importance to their culture that their entire language is based on this mythology from that book. I thought that's just a really cool idea, and a lot of sci-fi shows now don't have that. I don't think that kind of just a good idea, a good dang idea.
I think the Star Trek, they made a lot of episodes per season, 20-something episodes per season.
Yeah.
Which is a lot to make in a year. That means you're making an episode every 2 weeks. And
it's a lot.
A 45-minute episode every 2 weeks. You know how long it takes to make like a feature film? It takes years to make these films.
Right.
And they're making 25 hours of content every year, which is incredible amount of content. And so a lot of it is a bit lacking, but sometimes a real gem of an idea or concept seeps through and is executed fantastically. There's one of the original early episodes was this courtroom drama episode, where they sort of asked whether Data or not, or has the right, has rights or not, whether he's human or not. And it was really good. They talked about a lot of different stuff in it. It was just a great episode and really, really fun, really good to watch. So some episodes of Star Trek, The Next Generation, man. If you can find, the way I did it was, it was all on Netflix a while back. But the way I found like a watch skip guide, and so there was this guy who'd watched the whole thing like 4 times, and he basically wrote down a guide which was, skip these ones. You can watch these ones for fun. These are the core. These are the ones you need to watch.
Did you watch the episode where there's that old woman that's a protector of that young woman, and when shit gets real, she transforms into a giant monster? That's such a good episode.
There's some really, really weird stuff, and a lot of it you realise where all these memes come from too, though, because there's a lot of Star Trek, like Captain Picard memes, of him doing stupid stuff and saying stupid stuff. Man, some of them are so fun.
There are some hilarious things in the Star Trek.
Yeah, but man, it's good. It's really good to watch.
It is good.
They have aged really well. That's the thing.
Episodes. Some people hate the Q episodes.
Well, Q, I can't stand him really.
Picard. Picard.
I'm not a big fan of John Delancey or whatever. Anyway, I'm not a fan of Wesley either. God, can't stand him.
Such a wet blanket is what my mum would have described him as.
His story sort of concludes in this really strange way as well, because he was always destined to be some sort of super
Starfleet guy.
Kind of like superhuman, though. He actually has like superpowers. He can like stop time.
What?
Yeah, it turns out that he is some sort of transcendent being, and he becomes.
What?
Yeah, he joins this. He literally joins this tribe of Native American Indians, who
Wesley Crusher.
Yeah, so there's a planet where the Native American Indians have colonized it, okay, but they've colonized it in a zone which is disputed with the Cardassians, okay,
and
so they have to be forcefully removed from their land. I'm not even kidding.
Oh my god.
Anyway, Wesley Crusher comes back from Starfleet Academy, where he's just, I don't know, I think he's got A stars and everything, but he doesn't like it for some reason, he keeps arguing with his mum or whatever, who knows. And then he basically turns out that he has superpowers and he can stop time, and so he basically joins these Native American Indians and says, I'm leaving you, mum, I'm going to transcend space and time, see you never, goodbye. And that's it. It's ridiculous.
I have to go to university now in real life, so I'm out. Peace.
Well, that was he'd already been gone for seasons and seasons because the writers couldn't stand him.
Really?
Well, the original season of Star Trek: The Next Generation was written by Gene Roddenberry, The Next Generation, and Will Wheaton, and it was really First of all, Gene wanted Riker to be captain. He wanted Riker to be.
That would have been awful.
The Shatner. He wanted another big macho American, all-American captain of heroism.
I'm so glad that didn't happen.
Aliens.
Because A, Jonathan Frakes can't act for shit, and B, Picard was the best captain. Like, I thought he was fantastic.
Well, he was, and that was because the writers really overruled Roddenberry on that. And then from season 2 onwards, I think because they got rid of Beverly Crusher, didn't they? Oh, here's a big fight, by the way.
Yeah, this looks a big one.
But yeah, so one of the things they did was they kind of slowly edged Roddenberry out, and Star Trek: The Next Generation got very, very strong after that. I mean, it had plenty of weak episodes, as many things do. When you have a series that's that big, you know, you've got 20 episodes, and a lot of those episodes are written by completely different people.
Yeah.
And directed by
some of them not very good.
Yeah, the Star Trek films are very hit and miss too, in the same sense, right? Some of the Star Trek films are pretty fun and pretty good, but some of them are garbage.
God awful.
Yeah.
There's a YouTube channel called Red Letter Media. And the guy does a dissection of, apart from he does the Star Wars prequel trilogy, which is hilarious. He dissects it so brutally that all the stuff that it just washes over you in a sea of garbage when you're in the cinema. You watch it back in the cold light of day with him pointing it out, and you cannot believe how bad it is.
Simon just got the Blu-ray of Space Cop, which is Red Letter Media's film.
Oh, right.
It's been in production for like 5 or 6 years, I think, a long time. And the plot is that there's a police officer from the future of space who travels back in time to the present and is teamed up with an officer from the past who is unfrozen in the present.
Okay.
So as there's an officer from the future and an officer from the past who must defeat aliens together.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen it yet. Simon literally just got the Blu-ray delivered yesterday.
Oh, let me know if it's any good.
I'm a huge fan of Red Lit Media for a long time.
Yeah, no, they're so good.
So my God.
But he did all the Star Trek movies as well, if you haven't seen them.
Yeah.
And the way he breaks them down is oh my God, some of the stuff he points out is so hilariously awful.
Well, I think some films are just made in a rush, and a lot of the time when you're watching them, you don't see this stuff until the second or third time it goes around. I think when I watch a movie like the second time, the amount of shit that I pick up on the second time.
Yeah.
I guess it just shows that even when you're giving your full attention to something, you just don't catch all of it.
Yeah,
but,
it's true.
You know, when you watch like Disney stuff or DreamWorks stuff or like the Lego Movie, for example, the amount of little bits of the Lego Movie, which I just missed the first time, blew my mind.
I saw it in the cinema. I thought it was okay. I didn't do it for me in a big way. It was all right. I really enjoyed Inside Out. I thought that was brilliant.
I mean, some of these films are absolutely fantastic. Big Hero 6 is such a good film.
I was not expecting to enjoy that, and then me and my eldest absolutely loved it.
Yeah, some of them are so good. So, how old are your kids now?
One of them is 4 and a bit, and the other one is nearly 7.
So they're the perfect age to enjoy all these really amazing Disney films.
They love movies.
Sips has been showing his son some of the Star Wars, the originals. And,
it's quite difficult. They're not like modern movies when you watch them back. Well, like when you watch them now, they're 40-year-old movies. And
I know, and because they were they inspired so much that came after them that they don't necessarily hold up as well as you think they should. They're still great movies, but they're definitely
like the humor in them is awful. Like if you watch it back, they're basically humorless movies. Like as the kids watch it. And there's nothing in it. Like kids nowadays in movies, there's little funny bits and things that happen and stuff. The comedy characters, C-3PO and R2-D2, are inherently they're just not funny. C-3PO is not funny, right? Like the lines, the banter between Han and Leia is so bad. Like, he's scruffy looking, nerf herder. And he's like, who's scruffy looking? It's like a school play. It's so bad. Like, we love it because I grew up with it. But when you watch it with the kids now, I'm like, huh? Nerf herder, right? Scruffy looking, yeah? And they're just like, whatever. This isn't funny at all. And they're right. The script for Star Wars is god-awful, but it is just such a classic... such class. I mean, the new movie was so good. I felt it was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
It was really what the whole thing needed as well. It felt like it was in the same universe. It felt it had that 80s sort of vibe. You know,
it did. Yeah.
I think that's the big thing about it. Like the prequels didn't feel like they were in the same universe.
No, not at all.
The CGI
not even
and everything about it.
Like
just
the aesthetics were everything looked completely off. But you know what we did? Yeah. I did start watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy with my eldest.
Oh God, okay.
It's quite dark, you know, but it's not too dark. There's no sex stuff in it, which is my first concern. Is there going to be like a giant penis hovering into view at any point or something that I'm going to have to explain?
I don't remember that happening in.
No, there's none of that. So it's sex free. So in that regard, it's okay for little kids. There is some gore, but it's not people getting dismembered. It's monsters. And kids are sort of like, it's an orc, it got dismembered, so, GG, well done, that's fine, we can live with that. It's good, it's got some peril, but the first film in particular doesn't have a huge amount of action. It's mainly hobbits, and I thought she'd quite like that. The problem is that there are some little subtleties and things you need to infer using your brain. And watching movies with kids, when you watch a kids' movie with kids, you realize how much exposition there is in every single scene and shot. That's like, let's go up this hill. Yes, because then we'll be higher up and we'll be able to see what we're looking for. Yes. Whereas in a regular movie, they just say, we'll get to the high ground. And they're like, what's high ground? Why did they get up that hill? Why did they turn left? Why did they climb out of that tree? Why did that man fall over? Just shut up and watch the movie. Gandalf will explain it all in 2 seconds' time, for Christ's sake. So you're just watching the movie, explaining, because there's lack of exposition in most movies. Kids can't deal with it. Like, they can't follow You've Been Framed, Lewis. Why did that man fall over? Because he fell over. That's the point of the clip is, ha, the man fell over. You don't need exposition. But anyway, so Lord of the Rings was just a bit of a bridge too far for them. Like, when you watch kids' movies, you realise just how on a plate the plot is.
Yeah.
But hey.
It's. I guess you don't quite realise until you're sitting there with a kid.
Yeah,
actually
and you're like, God
often.
almighty, I get it. Why are they explaining this for the 3rd time? But like, I was watching my kids like My Little Pony, right? They're the right audience for it. They're children. No offence, bronies, but I'm not a brony, right? I don't particularly care for My Little Pony. I think it's garbage, but the kids like it.
Yeah.
Everything that happens, I better go to the library to get my book. Walks into library. Here I am in my library, getting my book. It's like, yeah, explain it all, every single thing you do, and the kids lap it up. They just want to know what's happening all the time. If you're making a kids' movie, expositionary characters is every character all the time.
Sorry, I'm just watching us die. Pyrion Lewis got wrecked, but these guys, they're pretty squishy. So
yeah, they were squishy, but they were glass cannons, these lizards. Oh, these are the Kafwagi or whatever they're called. I believe it's Kafwagi.
Lagerfeth or whatever. Yeah, I decided I'm putting a couple of points into athletics now because it actually gives you a better second wind. And now I have to pick a skill. So I'm going to pick the old crackling bolt as well.
Good old crackling bolt.
Because I love to fire a blind crackling bolt into a pack from miles away.
I like crackling. I love crackling as well.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got a lot of bad fat in it, crackling.
Yeah, but I don't eat it often. It's not like my daily consumption of crackling. Have you had your crackling today,
kids? A bowl of crackling.
Daddy, not crackling for breakfast again, and lunch, and dinner. Oh, yes. In this house, we eat crackling.